pew, 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 pew. Spiky Bits. Welcome back, Hobby Maniacs. I'm Baer from SpikyBits.com. Today we're going to take a look at some exclusive preview copies I have for a new Kickstarter coming out. They sent this over for some promo and just to kind of get my thoughts on it. And, well, I told them. But, no, nothing bad, nothing bad. We're going to take a look at this because this box is, it's pretty massive. And it's got a ton of chunky sprues in it. So Dungeons and Lasers is the name of this project. It is by Archon Studios, and you can see here they've done a lot of projects. They've raised a lot of money. They've delivered all the stuff. There are still a few naysayers out there, but not one of them has replied to any of my requests to email me so I could help facilitate any of the issues they had. So they don't exist. So there it is. So this is kind of the project here, and what makes this different from some of the past projects like Rampart and stuff is that you needed magnets or you needed pegs, and that was more standalone terrain, which I thought was a great idea and very, very cool. This is more of, well, you're making a dungeon or you're making some sort of space area for some sort of RPG from anywhere from like Star Trek to Aliens. Now that Modifius, I think, has both of those, maybe. I don't know, I'll have to fact check that one, but there's a lot of space RPGs and things out there, along with Zone Mortalis and a whole bunch of different things you can do, or even Wrath and Glory 40k RPG too, for, you know, storming Space Hulks and doing all sorts of cool things out there. So it's kind of both sides of the spectrum here. So just a brief preview. There's companions, varied themes, so specific rooms, customization bits, a visual grid because it's 25 mils. There's some painted up stuff. And yes, it will soon be on Kickstarter. But what does that mean for you? Well, let's take a look at one of the sprues here. And the reason this is important, you're like, hey, it's just a plastic sprue. What's the big deal? The big deal is this is an injection molded plastic sprue that was developed in the EU by Archon Studios, right? Here's the thing why that's important. Nobody else in the EU does that, except for Games Workshop. So introducing competition into the marketplace is always a good thing. Plus, check how dope this terrain is. Let me put a little bit of light on here, and you can start to see, hey, those details look pretty sweet. Now, I'm not going to say this is better than some of the multi-part kits somebody like Games Workshop puts out, but once we start clipping these off the sprues and taking a better look, I can already tell that this is probably a better quality, or if not the same quality, maybe a little bit less than some of the chunkier Chinese produced kits for Games Workshop. And we're going to see how well it goes together, so I don't want to put a foot in my mouth, and it looks like it's modular and there's pegs and some different things, and they slot in together on the sides. But I mean, just taking a look, this is far and above the initial offerings of Chinese produced terrain from Games Workshop like 5-6 years ago, and it's definitely close to the quality, if not the same quality as what's out there right now. Real quick, a quick gotcha is you need to clip these off the sprue with not a good pair of clippers, because they're a little chunky and they will take a little bit of work to get off the sprue. So I don't know if that's the actual production quality, but that was just something I noticed here. Here's the xenomorph kind of room. Here's a traditional, I don't know, torture dungeon room sort of thing right here. They have these little pieces which are kind of cool, and they're very thick plastic, which I like, because in theory they should be up to the stress of pulling stuff apart and putting them back on. And to make the rooms, it's very easy. You just literally only use these to connect the floors together, something like that. Now, you don't have to trim off each of these little studs on a lot of the parts. You might on the floor, and you definitely want to on these, but that is pretty much all you have to do, because once you get these, they don't actually touch on the sides, and they slot together very easily once you line everything up correctly. They slot in like this. Sometimes it's easier to do it from the back because you can see where the little studs are right there, which I thought was pretty neat. But then it all just kind of goes together, and there's doors, and there's all sorts of different things. You saw the little setup I had at the beginning where I put some Marines and stuff in there, and I thought that was pretty neat. So that's kind of everything about it. You know, it's chunky, it goes together well. I think there's going to be a multiple level. I don't have those parts to kind of show you there, but I mean, detail wise, I think we're looking at something that's pretty good quality. And my favorite part is the little dog that comes with it. It's push fit, but I mean, this guy has a lot of detail for just being a little push fit. I mean, this has more detail than a lot of the ETB kits that we see come out of China for Games Workshop. And he pushes together. I messed up his feet, so I had to glue his feet down to the base. But otherwise, it should just push fit into the base itself. So very easy to put together. And companions, including cats, are on the way. Let's look at the project. So this Kickstarter is coming soon, but you can get all the latest updates by going to dungeonsandlasers.com, and I'll put the link below in the comments and also on the description, where you can sign up and get the latest updates. And they show you a lot of cool, like, assembled pictures of the terrain. Remember, Kickstarter, it's very hard to put a lot of pictures on the Kickstarter page. It's like using AOL in the 90s. It's kind of difficult to use, trust me. I did one once. It was nuts. But here you can see the gist of it, and everything looks great, and it's the same quality detail and stuff that I just showed you, which is, you know, like I said, plastic injection molded sprues. Very hard to come up with that technology and maintain. Nobody else does it except for Archon Studios and GW now in the EU. Now let's talk about value for a minute, because everybody wants value for their dollar, right? That's why we're going to spend. That's why we're going to kind of fund these projects to help these companies get this technology like Archon Studios. And that's what it's all about. The folks are already weighing in, leaving, you know, feedback and doing different things here. This is not a live project. This stuff might change. It's always subject to change. Here's a look at that. It's going to be live soon. So the basic pledges are $99, $199, and $299. And we're going to skip all this fluffy stuff because I already showed you and talked to you about all that. And it is stackable. I just don't have those parts or know how they work. I don't think. Maybe I do. I just didn't do it. Forgive me. So it goes together very easily. I showed you that. And here is the core set. So the core set is just basically a bunch of rooms, like 6 rooms or so. And then these are 25 mil square. So this is about 4 inches square, 4 inches square, 4 inches square. So it's about, you know, with the spacing, you can make about 12 inches across and about 12 inches-ish kind of high, you know, in diameter. Here's the kit. And explains like the walls and all the different 12 long walls, 23, 10 floor tiles. You got your connectors, your doorways, and single floor tiles right there. There's a look at the sci-fi core set, very similar. Now, and then they show you the different rooms. Now we're gonna scroll down to the pledge part because I wanna show you that, and I think that's important. So here's what it is. For, on the fantasy side of things, the Dungeon Master one is $99, but you can add any 3 of the rooms onto this right here. So you're gonna get expansion rooms, which is pretty cool. So $99 gets you the basic 12 by 14-ish or 12 by 12-ish kind of display, but then also these specific rooms here. So you're gonna add to that. So you're gonna have a little bit more room. And then, you know, the next one's like double that, I believe, or add, let's see, add any 7. So they give you a bonus instead of 6, it's add any 7. And then you go up to another one and it's add any 11 of the rooms and 3 of the basic core sets. So you're like, okay, $99, $199, $299, plastic, injection molding's dope, plastic's gonna last. So how does that compare to some of the other stuff out there? And that's what's really important, because not a lot of folks are doing this injection plastic molded stuff. A lot of them are doing resin, some of them are doing pre-paints, also resin. But this is kind of important. So let's go look at some other products out there that are comparable. So I was talking about this project on our live Kickstarter show, and I was like, all right, so what do we compare this to? And everyone was like, Dwarven Forge. I was like, okay, cool. Dwarven Forge was a big thing. It was a big Kickstarter back in the day. So we're going to look at their classic sets here, which they offer unpainted now. So I'm like, okay, cool. Classic resin sets. We got sci-fi. Here's the sci-fi set. What is this? So $99, all right, $99 is comparable. Quick view, what do we got? Sci-fi Passage, so that went down? Am I on crack here? Oh, it's $59, I am on crack, that's cool. So $59 for the classic resin set. It's gonna give you 2 short passages and 1 of these other little things right here. And I mean, to be honest, I don't feel like that's as much as what you're getting for $99. Plastic, modular, snaps together. This doesn't look like it snaps together. Let's look at the fantasy one. And remember, this is all resin, so you gotta clean it. You gotta do, you know, soak it in water with some soap, classic dungeon. They have a whole bunch of different ones here. All right, so you got advanced builders, which kind of makes sense because that was their thing. Classic, hellscape, advanced builder. Is there a fantasy floor set? Sci-fi passage set. I guess there isn't just a base one. All right, well, let's take a look at this. So here, okay, so 169. This is their advanced builder set 2. That comes with a passageway, a bunch of singles. None of this clicks together. It's got some cool doorways. I like those doorways. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I feel like you get that, and then you get more of the straight. I don't know. I don't feel like this isn't standing out as me as even equal to this one right here at $99. So I feel like comparing it to that, this 3 long-sided and 6 double-sided walls, 3 long floor tiles. So maybe it is a little comparable, but it is pricier as far as that goes, and it doesn't snap together, and there isn't things you can stack on top of it. So let's look at one more thing. If you're into Grimdark, well, then you probably know about Zone Mortalis, and they've been making, Forge World's been making these Zone Mortalis boards for a while. They are comparable size-wise, 12 by 12, because these are roughly 4-inch squares right here as far as that goes. Now, $47 for the board. Yes, it's cheaper. It's not configurable. It is resin, and pretty much comes like this. And you can just set it up in 1x1 squares right there. So I don't know if it's a fair comparison. It is cheaper. It's not configurable. And it is about the same size with no add-ons for a little bit less. Okay, so moving on, let's look at GW Terrain here. Now they just came out with a whole bunch of new terrain sets last year, all the sector kits here. You've got a ruined corner for $100, a smaller ruined corner with a little piece that could go in the middle for $50. Nothing modular as far as that goes. You know, maybe you could look at these ruins right here, which really don't form any sort of thing. You've got some more beefier pieces here for $75, but nothing that forms those corridors and the things that can give you that RPG element or flair or configurable for your game out there. So they're definitely expensive on this plastic side of things, not the Forge World modular terrain, but these aren't similar in configuration. So it's kind of like a toss-up right there. It's really hard to say. So overall, the choice is pretty much up to you whether this is a value or it's just something you can get somewhere else for less, maybe in resin, paint it up yourself. Either way, I think it's very important because of the fact that it is getting this technology into other companies in the EU, and they're able to produce these sort of things. And this is the ground floor, literally, see what I did there, for bigger and better things out there. When you've got quality this well on the initial project for something like that, the sky is literally the limit for the add-ons and the continued offerings for this right here. So I'm very excited for this, both on the fantasy and the sci-fi side of things. I know this is gonna be more relevant to some of the RPGers and things out on the fantasy side, but I think it still is appropriate on the tabletop sci-fi kind of thing, because everybody always wants to do those campaigns and kind of jump into like a Space Hulk, or, you know, explore some sort of like underground subterranean lair or something like that, which would be pretty neat, to be quite honest. And you've got things like 40K Kill Team out there that you could definitely use this for as well. So I think the price point is right. I think the technology is right. At the end of the day, you just got to ask, is it right for you? So that's it for this one. Thanks for watching our unbox and Kickstarter preview for the new Dungeons and Lasers terrain set from Archon Studios. I'm Baer from SpikyBits.com. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you can be the first to like and comment on all our videos.